What's up, Meshbuka? Welcome back to another episode of Married to Reality. It's the Jewish Matchmaking Edition. I'm your co-host, John, here with my wife, co-host and resident Gentile. It's the one and only Teresa right there.
Hello, everyone. How's everyone doing? Before we move on, what is a genital?
A genital? Well, mine was snipped during my bris.
Genital?
Gentile.
What's that?
A non-Jew.
Oh.
A non-Jew. I know. It seems aggressive, but it's...
Yeah, I thought you said genital.
There are Jews and Gentiles, and you are a Gentile, and
like
I
Harry Potter.
am a Jew.
It's like...
Don't get me started on the anti-Semitism that runs through Harry Potter.
That's not true. Well... The writer, she made some comments, but the books are not. But there are the wizards, and then they call everyone else muggles.
Interesting.
Yeah, so like you're a muggle. I'm a muggle. I wish I was a wizard.
You are a Gentile, and I am a Jew. And that is why we are here to cover Jewish Matchmaking Part 2.
I'm excited. And on the first episode, we were so excited that we didn't even do our housekeeping.
I don't even think I kind of like that we didn't do it.
Well, let's do it real quick because I want people to know where to find us. If you're new to this and you don't go all the way to the end when John and I say we've said it all, then let's remind our friends or new friends where to find us.
And our new friends, our Jew friends, doesn't matter who you are, where you are. What matters is that you're here. And if you like what you're hearing, and if you listen to part 1, you're here for part 2, well, welcome back, and thank you for being here. You can follow us on Instagram at Married to Reality Pod. It's a good time over there. Message us. Follow along. It's a good time. Join us on Patreon, patreon.com/Married to Reality. We're currently covering Love in Paradise, which is a wild show.
Wild.
Okay. And if you really like it, it'd be great if you could leave us a review.
Yeah.
If it's a 5-star review and you write something, we'll read it on our 90 Day Fiance podcast. And then the last thing, and certainly not the least, is you want to follow the podcast. And that's because once in a while, we love you guys so much that we do random things like this, where we binge watch an entire season of a show and then drop it on the free feed.
Yeah.
And if you're not following along, well, you might miss it because you go, well, I think they drop 90 Day Fiance on Monday night. Let me just tune in Monday night. And then you miss this. So follow along. So easy to do. You look down, you smash that follow button.
Guys, smash it like it's as hot as this whole freaking season so far.
Smash it like it's as hot as my bar mitzvah, Teresa.
Well, I didn't go. You didn't invite me.
You did not get an invite.
You didn't know me at the time.
You were a 9-year-old Czech girl.
Yeah, just living in a small town, Czech Republic. Living my best life.
Yeah, I was doing all sorts of dances and wearing fun outfits and oversized sunglasses. And
all right, you take it easy.
Suing my DJ because he promised a light show that, well, did not show up.
You sued him? You brought him to court?
No. I don't know what we did.
Did you give him a bad review? Or
I think we just called him up and said, hey, man, you promised this whole light show. You came with basically 2 flashlights taped together. What are you going to do for us?
Well, that's not suing.
No, I don't think we sued him, but
I was like, whoa.
We shook him down.
Whoa. Yeah. Well, you should have. I would have too.
Yeah. All right. Enough about my bar mitzvah. Let's talk about some other Jewish friends of ours, Ori.
Let's go back to Ori and his date, because they kind of teased it on the first episode, and then it was like, dun, dun, dun. So we meet Addie. That's Ori's first date.
Yeah. She walks in, and his whole concern was, she's not going to be hot enough for me, okay? I don't know if you saw where I live, but my parents have a really nice house, and I have my own bedroom, and so she better be pretty hot if she wants to come in there.
And I think by hot, he meant blonde with blue eyes, which Addie is the exact opposite of that.
Yeah, Addie is Israeli, which... He
Makes
wanted,
sense.
which he wanted. Ori is Israeli as well. But yes, she is not the unicorn that would be a blonde-haired, blue-eyed Israeli.
Yeah.
She is a classic, beautiful Israeli woman.
Yes, and she's only been in the U.S. for a few months, right?
Yeah, I think she wants to become the next Gal Gadot because she wants to be an actress. Who? Gal Gadot is an Israeli actress.
Oh.
Yeah. Like the only Israeli actress I can think of. I'm
No,
sure there are.
Natalie Portman.
Is she Israeli? I know she's Jewish.
and she is fully religious Jewish. And she went to Harvard.
But she's Israeli?
Yeah.
Huh. You say, and she went to Harvard.
No, I'm just
like a lot of Jews aren't highly educated.
No,
Teresa. The stereotype is quite the opposite.
That's not what I meant. Like, my uncle went to Brown. Like, but I just read an article like a week or two ago about her being religious and keeping all the traditions. And in the article, it mentioned that she went to Harvard.
Got it.
So that's how I know it.
You're like, he is Jewish, but he's a dentist. Like,
well, that's a good job.
We're leaning into all the stereotypes in this episode.
Is it a stereotype?
Jewish dentists?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Jewish doctors, lawyers. I'm glad you're not into the stereotypes. That's good, Teresa.
Well, I didn't know that was a stereotype until literally right now.
The more you know. This is an educational podcast.
It's a very educational podcast.
Yeah. You learned about all the high holy days and Shabbat last episode. Now you're learning about the stereotypes.
Yeah.
Very good.
All right.
Let's get into this. So the review is in. Ori is attracted to Addie. He would like to bang her.
Well, but he's attracted to her as like, oh, a hot girl.
Yeah.
Not like, oh, my type.
Yeah. I don't know if he's nervous around her or if he's just always awkward, but he's making dumb jokes like, so you want to be an actor? Well, I'm also an actor in porn.
Oh my gosh, that reminds me of the guy from Love is Blind.
Oh, the Zach?
Yeah.
And he was like, oh, I'm a stripper?
Yeah.
Yeah, but his mom was a stripper, so that's, I think, why he was saying it.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, there are people who make stupid jokes when they're nervous. I think for Ori, it's this. She walked in, she has a nice face, but she's not his type. So normally, he would not go on a second date. However, Alina said, you need to date them. What did she say? Date them till you hate them.
Yeah.
Meaning...
Aleeza.
What did I say?
I think you said Alina.
Oh, Aleeza. Thank you. Date them till you hate them, meaning if it's not a hard no, then it's always a yes.
Yeah, which on the surface, I hate that advice because I'm like, why waste your time? But you dig a little deeper into it. And I'm like, you know what? Good. It means don't be so picky. Just because you find like one little thing that isn't perfect. Oh, they don't have blue eyes. Doesn't mean don't give them another chance.
I would say this rule is fine for people who are out there dating, trying to find someone, but still keeping their doors open. For these guys who want to meet someone and marry and settle down, then it makes sense. For me, let's say before I met you, I was dating. I wanted to meet someone, but was I trying to meet someone to marry within a few years? No. So I would not waste my time.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah,
but
makes sense.
for these guys, it does make sense.
Yeah. So we saw Aleeza give some coaching because she's not just a matchmaker. She is a dating coach. And we saw her give some coaching to some other singles. We needed her here because Ori needs a little dating advice. For one, don't make that dumb I'm a porn star joke, right? 2, don't lead with I live with my parents.
Yeah, and I work with them too.
She needed to give him a little bit more of a pep talk, I think.
You could see how Addie is not that thrilled about him. And then Ori asks her, like, oh, I would love to hang out again. And she's like, okay.
Mm-hmm.
And you can tell that if she wasn't on a camera, she would say no.
Well, she is on camera and she does want to be an actress. So I think that's why we get a second date.
Yeah, but I think that would be it.
Which is where we go next. We see them horseback riding.
Which is one of the things that she loves to do besides acting.
Yes. She likes horseback riding. Ori, on the other hand, seemed a little nervous. I don't know if it was the horses or, again, if he's just a nervous person. That's, again, another stereotype of us Jews. Is we're a little nervous.
Oh.
Yeah. You wouldn't know.
See, I didn't know.
Well,
I don't think you're nervous.
I don't want to reinforce these stereotypes. So forget them all. Forget everything I said. But
I mean, so far, you're none of the stereotypes.
Never sued anyone, not a dentist, and not a nervous Nelly.
Yeah.
Love horseback riding. There you go. Okay. So they're horseback riding, and they start talking about dogs. And
oh my gosh.
Ori wants 3 dogs because he wants 3 kids.
I agree with that. I don't want 3 kids, but I want a dog or 2 and a kid or 2.
Okay, but I don't think every kid needs their own dog.
No, but I do agree. And I was laughing because Jen and I just had this conversation like a day or 2 ago, how it is important that babies grow up with dogs. It's important to me because I think when you grow up, not babies, kids, when you grow up with a dog, you learn to be compassionate and you learn to take care of other living beings.
Some do and some don't. Some are like, can I get a dog? I'll take care of it. And then they get a dog and they don't take care of it.
I've taken care of all my pets.
That's you.
Yeah.
You are not everyone.
True, but I still think that if you grow up with a dog, there is a certain level of
you can learn responsibility
and responsibilities and love that you just don't learn. Like you learn to feel for someone else.
Okay. I don't think you're wrong. I just don't think it's guaranteed. And so to introduce 3 dogs into a home because you have 3 kids.
Well, 3 dogs is a lot.
It's a little excessive.
But I do love the idea. I definitely, if we're going to have a kid, I do want to have a dog first.
Yeah, okay.
There are all these beautiful photos of dogs booping babies. Okay. That's how they connect. Right. And it's a bond for life.
All right. My favorite part of this whole segment was that they're trying to have this serious conversation while they're on horseback. Like they're 20 yards away from each other just yelling like, how many kids do you want to have? Oh, you want to have dogs with your kids? It's like, why don't you wait until you get off the horses and then have these conversations?
Well, and here's another thing they don't agree on. Ori wants to have kids and no later than in 3 years, 3 to 4 kids. That's not Addie's plan.
No. And maybe it would be different if she was vibing Ori, but she's definitely not. And it's evident when they get off the horses, they finish the ride. And Addie's like, so did you like it? Because he was a little nervous at first. And he goes, yeah, it was fun. Like that was natural. I know I'm a complicated guy. I was nervous at first, but I really liked it. You seem simple.
Yeah, and she was like simple in a weird way. And you could tell that she's annoyed.
Well, simple is not a compliment.
No. But he was like, well, and he was like grasping for words because like, well, you look like you know what you want. And Addie was like, ambitious. He's like, yes, ambitious.
Yeah. And so now you can tell she's even more turned off by Ori.
And she does the camera. I was like, yeah, I don't know if I want to see him again. Like the vibe isn't cool.
Yeah. I would say, what is it? Date him till you hate him?
Yeah.
I think she's getting close. She's getting closer to hating him.
I think it just happened.
Yeah. So, all right. That's Ori. That's Addie. We cut to Miami and it's Dani with her Debbie fan. Of Debbie and Osama. She's got that hand fan.
Oh, yeah.
She's just fanning herself. And she's hanging with friends talking about her date with David. For those who have forgotten, David is the guy who would not refill her wine glass.
Yes. And she likes him. There is a lot of good qualities, but she isn't sure about his sexual chemistry.
Yeah, she's not feeling the sexual chemistry, which a little wine would have helped. I'll tell you that much.
You know why I think that is? I think it's because of the religion. I think that's something that might be a roadblock that you kind of think about.
Yeah, because she brings up, that's one of the first things she brings up is, he started the Miami Sephardic Club. He knows a ton of people. He's very social. And one of Dani's friends, Tori, says, well, okay, is he a bit of a party boy then? Like he's started this social club. Basically, if you're looking to get married, you need to find someone who's ready to settle down. Dani agrees, but yes, to your point, even more so than that, it's not the social aspect of the social club. It's that the social club is a religious club.
Yeah.
And he might be too religious for her.
And for her, it's like she always goes for bad boys because they're hot. But good boys can also be hot. Look at John.
Oh, hello.
He's so hot.
You wait till you see me with my yarmulke on.
I've never seen you. Oh, I have.
Yes, you have. It was a sad occasion.
It was a sad occasion. That was the big yarmulke that I was talking about.
That was an extra large yarmulke. Yeah. So, she's going to give him a second chance, even though it wasn't fireworks on the first date. The second date, let's see, it's a jet skiing date.
Yes.
Well, I don't know if the socks and shoes on the jet ski is going to help that sexual chemistry, Dan.
I don't get it. Why do you even wear any shoes on a jet ski? You don't drive with your feet.
Maybe
your
he's
feet
got,
are kind of wet.
Maybe he's got bad feet.
Yeah, still, you live in Miami. I mean, come on.
Maybe he's got bad feet. Here's what turned me off was the fact that he was still wearing the sunglasses from his bar mitzvah. Take those things off, David.
I think it's a vibe, but not for him when he's on a jet ski with his socks and sneakers.
Here's what I found interesting.
I was just gonna say, if anything, if he had those shoes for swimming, water shoes,
there you go.
then I would be like, all right, it's not a vibe, but it makes sense.
Yeah, at least it's situationally appropriate.
Yeah.
Here, speaking of physical appearance, Matchmaker Aleeza would not show David a photo of Dani. But Dani got to see a photo of David. So I found that interesting. But then we learned, well, Aleeza didn't tell Dani that David was Cuban, even after she said, I like Latin men.
Yeah.
And Aleeza's whole thing is pleasant surprises.
Yeah.
So maybe she wanted to pleasantly surprise David by like, no, you don't get to see her. When you see her, believe me, you'll find her attractive. Right?
Possible, yeah. But then David spins around on the jet ski and they're chatting very close to each other. I didn't like it. I'm like, someone like in my face like this on the second date.
Would you rather than be on two jet skis 30 yards apart like Ori and Addie?
I think on a second date, I would prefer to be on my own jet ski, to be honest.
Jet skis are like aqua horses if you think about it.
Kind of, yeah. Aqua horses.
Yeah, water horses.
Yeah, seahorses. That's a thing.
Equestrian. That's it.
What does it even mean?
Equestrian is horses.
Oh.
Equestrian.
Oh.
I nailed it. Teresa, be more impressed.
I don't know the word.
I just pulled that out of nowhere.
I love it, but I don't know it. It doesn't make sense to me.
Equestrian.
Guys, can you please message us and appreciate John?
Equestrian. At Married to Reality Pod, I'll take all the compliments I can get. All right. So then Dani asks David, how do you feel about me not being that religious? You started a whole club based on your religion. What about me not being that religious? And David says, well, I do tend to date more traditional women, but there are a lot of positives that you're bringing to the table that draw me in.
Yes, and Dani has a couple of great Jewish questions. For example, well, he's Sephardic and she's Ashkenazi. How is that okay? How does that gonna roll together? What's the difference?
Right.
And also, how come you can eat rice on a Passover and I cannot?
Right, someone loves the carbs. So basically, it boils down to, again, where geography, right? So Ashkenazi is European, Sephardic is more Middle East and North African. And so there's the food that goes along with that. There's the lifestyle, the personality. And so David says, well, it really doesn't matter that you're Ashkenazi and I'm Sephardic, because if we were to marry, well, you would take the lifestyle of the man, so you would be Sephardic.
So she could eat rice on a Passover.
So that's almost reason enough to say I do.
For sure.
And Dani goes, well, okay, you're talking marriage. What if you get sick of me? And David says, we'll be friends. And Dani is like, uh-oh. So you want to be friends? And David says, oh, no. I want to be more than that.
But I don't think if he meant it towards her or like in general.
What do you mean?
Like, she goes like, so you want to be friends? He's like, no, I'm looking for more. Meaning like, I'm not here with you to be friends with you. I'm here because there might be a potential. If there is not, I want to find it.
No, I think he meant specifically to her. I want to be more than friends with you.
Well,
at least for one night only.
All right, well.
Let me take these shoes off. Although maybe he bangs with his socks and shoes on.
I could see that.
As long as he takes the glasses off. Those things are worse than transition lenses.
It was kind of a vibe. Don't do that, but.
No, I definitely will not.
All right.
Let's move on.
Let's go to California and Harmonie and her first date. But before, let's talk to Aleeza on FaceTime to get a few tips.
Well, yeah, a couple tips, a little bit of a pep talk. Basically telling Harmonie, which we should have known this was a red flag. Be open-minded. When you see your date walk in, keep an open mind. Also, don't talk about kids or the past. All right, good luck.
And no touching.
Oh, yeah, no touching either. Good luck. So we learn from Aleeza about Shomer Nagia.
Yes.
Shomer the Gia, the practice of not touching, right? No handshaking, no patting on the back. Keeps the physical waiting until marriage.
Which I honestly find a little crazy.
That's old school. That's very old school.
But then we learn, I don't want to skip ahead, but Aleeza married very quickly after she met her husband. So, I mean,
well, I think there's many downsides. And again, you do you. That's basically the subject line of this podcast is you do you. But I think one of the downsides of a waiting till marriage to be intimate is that a lot of people will rush to marry so that they can bang.
Yeah.
Right? Mm-hmm. So Harmonie's like, all right, well, you may need to tie my hands behind my back.
So let's see. She's nervous because, again, she isn't sure if she's going to be attracted to this person. But she goes to the restaurant, sits down, and when Erin, the professor of architecture and dean of one of the colleges in Vermont, walks in, within 3 seconds, she hugs him.
But I don't think it was a hug of like, ooh, I want my body to rub against yours. I think it was just instinctual. Like, she's a fun person.
Yeah, she's very bubbly.
Just instinctually, when she meets someone, she hugs them.
And she's like, oops, here comes the first rule.
Yeah, broke the first rule.
Yeah.
I'll break the next two very quickly. But initially, she's not impressed physically.
No.
She thinks he's a little too nerdy.
And I honestly, I don't think he's bad looking. He's older, but he has a vibe.
He has a vibe. He looks like Steve Carell's Jewish brother without the sense of humor.
No, he looks like a dad of the guy of the Netflix show that was also in California. It's called like something Love or something.
Huh?
He had like glasses like that, like hair.
Oh.
He looks like his dad.
If we ever saw his dad?
Yeah.
You're saying like he looks like he could be his dad.
Yeah,
I don't think we
he
ever
could
saw
be his
that
dad.
guy's dad.
Yeah. No, we didn't.
I'm going to go with nerdy Steve Carell.
I don't see that.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. So either way, they don't look like they belong together.
No, but they could.
Aaron doesn't look like he has a big enough wallet to stand next to Harmonie.
Well, you think so? You think she goes after money?
She looks like no, not that she goes after money. No, don't take it that way. Just that she's a very beautiful woman, I think. He's a little nerdy, and usually when you see that type of pairing, it's because he's got a ton of money in the bank.
Oh, gotcha. Well, she is a beautiful woman, but her personality is very quirky. And I don't think she can date the traditional, okay, I'm a VP of Chase Bank, and no, like she needs someone with some quirks.
Yeah. So they start talking, and she's had a tough past few months with her family and her family's health. And so she's looking for a cheerleader. She needs that support. And out of nowhere, Aaron just goes, to be honest, I've dated several women since my divorce in 2010. And it's been helpful to figure out what's important to me.
I think Aleeza should have called Erin too.
Right. They're both breaking rules. And Aaron's like, this whole thing has just made me realize I wish I had children. So they're just totally ignoring any advice that Aleeza's given. Don't talk about kids. Don't touch. Don't talk about your past.
Yeah. Well, yes. And Harmonie feels like they're connecting on an intellectual level. Yeah. They have nice conversations, but the physical isn't there.
The physical is not there. She's not, her hamantaschen is not burning. As I said, she's looking for that burn, that deep burn, and she's not feeling it.
Not feeling it, but he wants to see her again, and she agreed.
So, cut to the beach.
Yes.
If she can't get a burning between her legs, maybe a sunburn will do.
Well, not just sunburn, mushrooms, microdosing.
This is great.
And so, I didn't know. Erin looks like a nice dude. I didn't know how nice Erin was. Nice to the point that never smoked. He never did any drugs.
He's a goodie too.
Better drink, even though he was in a fraternity.
He was in a fraternity, and he lives in Vermont, and he's not doing a little shroomy. He's not doing a little
he doesn't feel
devil's
the burn.
cabbage. He's not feeling
the burn.
Right, and she doesn't feel the burn either. But yeah, that was a little surprising, but it was hilarious how it came out because Aaron's like, wow, I can tell you love California. Like, you belong here. I can see how much you appreciate it. And Harmonie's like, wow, I'm really glad you could notice that, because there was a point where I felt a little blocked. I wasn't in harmony with California, and a friend suggested that I do mushrooms.
Microdosing.
And I was like, no, mushrooms. Are you talking about on a s'morph? Are you going to put mushrooms on a s'morph? And the friend was like, no, just like a little microdosing. And then Harmonie was like, all right, I can get down with that. And so she did, I guess. And now she's at one. She's at one with California and herself.
It opened up it opened up her heart.
Yes.
And it changed her for the better, apparently.
Yeah. And Aaron's response is, I always felt like the best people are weird. Not weird. I shouldn't have said weird. Quirky. Right? And they both realize, hey, maybe we're not on the surface what the other person would go for, but I'm grateful that Aleeza matched us.
Yeah. And Harmonie tells the cameras that the more they talk, the more attractive he is. However, still not feeling the burn.
Yeah. She literally says, I think Aleeza gave me everything I wanted and asked for, just in a different package. So if she can overcome that, if there's a certain dosing where she could become attracted to Aaron, well, then maybe it will work out.
Maybe it will.
Then we get a little Aleeza segment. Aleeza at home, you can call it.
Yes.
Where we meet her husband, Gershon. Was he vacuuming the turf yard?
I think so.
I guess you can't mow it, so what's left to do? Vacuum.
It just reminded me of this meme where there's a guy vacuuming a grass, and it's like when your boss comes around and you just pretend to do something.
Yeah, it's like, oh yeah, this makes sense. I'm looking busy.
Yeah.
I'm doing something. Yeah, we meet Gershon. They met on a Jewish singles retreat.
In 2002.
2002. They ended up not dating after that, but they were both from Philly. So they ended up reconnecting after Shabbos one night. They went for a walk, and cut to 3 weeks later, they were engaged. And 4 months after that, they were married.
Yeah. And still going strong, having 5 kids. And this is what I mentioned earlier. Aleeza was not religious before. So she went from single and not religious to married and religious to the point that she covers herself head to toe.
Yeah, no, this is a very conservative household, and Gershon's rocking the shofar.
Oh yeah,
like I should get a shofar.
Yeah.
You don't want me to blow the shofar?
Let's talk about it. Oh, that's shofar. I thought I have to talk about like the longer head in the front.
No. The payas?
Yeah.
No. I was borderline payas during.
Get the horn. Get the horn.
I was borderline payas during COVID. Yeah, I could blow the old Rams. I could blow the old Rams horn for you.
All
right. So here's where I'm confused, because I wrote down cut to Israel, but we're on different pages of whether or not Cindy is in Israel.
Yes, because so we meet Cindy, our single number 4, and she says, I always wanted to live in Israel. My parents, my dad said, you either need to have a job there or a husband or a lot of money. And she said, I have neither, but I did it.
Yeah.
And we see her strolling about Israel and Jerusalem.
Or so it could be the Jewish Quarter in Philadelphia, which I don't know if it exists. But
it's not.
It might be right next to Gino's Steakhouse. It's
definitely Israel.
Okay.
But then Aleeza comes over, and there's a huge poster of Philly.
Huge poster of Philly. And also, we saw Cindy with her sister Shirley. So is Shirley in Israel too?
Yeah. So a lot of questions, but let's roll with the fact that she is in Israel.
Yes. Hasn't had any luck meeting guys. And this is why I do think she is in Israel, because she's talking about the Israeli men and saying, yeah, it's true what they say. They all got 6-pack, washboard abs. But even if you have 100 men, you go down to about 5 who are willing to go out with you. And from that 5, there's about 2 that you like, but for some reason it doesn't work out. So you're at 0.
Yes. And so let's talk about her requirements.
Oh, boy.
So she wants someone who has good relationship with Judaism and Israel.
Okay.
Keeps kosher and Shabbat, because she does.
You got that right.
But she's not fully kosher, if I may say, because she does not dress modest. She wears a miniskirt.
Well, that's not kosher. The kosher just is.
It's just food.
Yeah.
So, an ignorant question number 1.
Oh boy.
Why do people say, "Oh, that's not kosher"?
Well, it's a cool thing to say.
So, but why?
because, well, how do people use it? Oh, that's not going to fly. That's not going to kosher, right? And so like a kosher person eating pork, well, that's not kosher. That's not going to fly.
That's why I said it.
Yeah.
And that's why I said, well, she's not that kosher because she wears these.
So you were using
dresses.
it a little liberally.
A little, yes, but I knew where I'm going with it. I was going to ask you about how and if it's okay to say it or if it's like a little insulting.
I think if I'm going to get on my woke horse, I'm going to stand on my woke,
get on this
my
woke
soapbox, it's a little bit of a cultural appropriation. If a non-Jew is going to say that's not kosher.
All right. That's what I thought too, but I said it because I wanted to hear what you think.
But let me step off that soapbox because I don't care because I'm not that woke. It doesn't bother me one bit. I don't think so. I want to embrace other cultures and I want other cultures to embrace mine. And that's the best thing about America is that there are so many different cultures and traditions, and it's nice. It's nice. Now, I'm sort of in agreement when people are like, don't wear my culture like a costume. Like, I don't want a Catholic person wearing a yarmulke.
Yeah.
That doesn't make much sense, right? But if you want to have matzo ball soup and say that's not kosher, go for it.
All right.
All right.
All right.
So the other thing we learned about Cindy is she did have a serious relationship, and it was quite recent, if you ask me.
Yeah, they broke up 8 months ago after 3 years where they talked about getting married. It's just once they introduced the idea of marriage, they realized that, well, that's probably not what we want. The two of us, it's not kosher.
They did more than talk about getting married. Cindy bought a wedding dress.
No, an engagement dress.
Oh, that's the thing?
I've heard it here first.
Oh, so it ended 8 months ago, but Cindy says she's over it. And Aleeza doesn't just buy that, oh, you guys just grew apart. Everything was fine. You guys just grew apart after 3 years and an engagement dress.
I mean, I believe that.
I don't think so. I don't think so.
If you're together for 3 years, which is a solid relationship in my books, and you start talking about marriage, and once that happens, you start seeing other things start coming up, and you realize, like, wait a minute, like, now it gets serious, then I can see how it falls apart. When you and I talked about marriage before we got married, we talked about it as something that's going to be awesome. We're just going to celebrate our love, right?
Yeah.
Nothing came out that would stop us. But I can see how things can poke or get out of from under the surface when it gets real.
Yeah, but I think it's not growing apart at that point. I think it's one person saying, all right, you're painting me into a corner here with this whole marriage thing. I'll say yes to appease you, but then when push comes to shove, I'm going to run. So I think she wanted to get married.
Yeah.
And I think her fiance said yes in the moment and then said no. So I don't think that's a growing apart. I think that's basically him standing her up.
Okay, growing up, when anyone in their 20s or 30s says they grew apart, I don't buy it. I buy it if you're 40 or 50 and you did grow apart.
I think you're more likely to grow apart when you're young.
Really?
Yes, I think there are some people who are 19 years old who after 3 years are now 22, and at 22 maybe one person said, I'm a professional. I want to focus on my career. And the other person at 22 said, I want to keep partying, frat parties, keg stands. That's growing apart.
Really?
Yeah. When you're 50, I would imagine most people are in a similar point in their lives. And it's probably harder to grow apart.
Interesting.
Yeah, just my take.
Well, anyways, Aleeza says, all right, well, I'm afraid of this one little thing I called mystery in your history, meaning that you might be looking for someone like you had in the past. And it might hurt you moving forward.
I'm a little concerned about something I call mystery in my meat, aka a hot dog. But you do you, Aleeza.
You do you, Aleeza. But yeah. She also wants someone who's successful, not a diva, because that's her.
That's her.
Not younger than 27.
Only room for one diva. Sorry.
Very true. Not younger than 27. Someone who likes to travel. Someone who's tikkun olam.
Tikkun olam. Hakuna Matata. Heal the world. What a wonderful phrase.
Tall, dark, and handsome.
All right. Stop talking about me, but okay.
No abs, no Cindy.
Well, okay.
And then Aleeza was like, oh, I have someone for you, Danielle, 34. Ooh, might be too old. 34 might be too old.
She said originally, too, 28 to 37.
Yeah.
And so then when Aleeza's like, perfect, here's Daniel, 34, speaks Hebrew, tech engineer, 5'10". She's like, I know I said 37, but 34 is a little too old. So she's really thinking 31 tops. But she's going to give Daniel a chance.
Well, let's see.
Let's see. That's episode 2. And what an episode it was. This show is great. I'm loving this show.
I'm loving it too.
All right. I wasn't sure if it was just because I could relate.
No, I love it because I learn a lot.
You learn a lot. Yeah. And it just reminds me of the old days.
Okay.
All right. When I would grace the stage at Temple Beth David and hit them with the Jutang classics.
Love it.
You love it. I'm going to have to dig up one of my old songs and sing
I would love to hear your Jutang clan song with Ross.
There's a lot of shofar in it, though. So prepare for that. That's what a shofar does. Anyways, with those shofar noises, I think I've said it all. So make sure you follow us on Instagram at Married to Reality Pod. If you want even more content, join the Patreon, patreon.com/Married to Reality. We got Love is Blind cooking over there. Make sure you follow the podcast so you don't miss any of these bonus episodes. It's so easy to do. You look down, you smash that follow button.
Guys, smash it like it's his hurt. Is my Jewish husband John.
Hello, tall, dark, and handsome. At least that's what my mom tells me. And if you leave a review, if it's a 5-star review, we will read it on the podcast on Monday nights. So with that, I've definitely said it all. Have you said
it all?
All right. We'll talk to you guys soon. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.